Hello and welcome to Driver's Guide, where we are building a K20 powered Honda Jazz. If this is your first time on the channel, I suggest you go into my backlog of videos and have a look at the build where we modified the chassis, we mounted the engine, we built drive shafts, we wired it up, radiator mounted, did all the wiring, blah blah blah, and we've got it to a point now where it runs. It doesn't drive yet because it's still up on axle stands, but I had a bit of a running issue on the end of the last video where it would idle really rough and really funny, a bit high, and it wouldn't rev above 2,500–3,000 RPM, I forget exactly. However, I've been doing some digging in the background and I believe I've got to the bottom of that issue, which I'll go through with you in a sec. But this video I'm hoping to pretty much get the car buttoned up to a point where I can pull it off the end of the drive and take it for a test drive. I've got all my insurance sorted through Greenlight Insurance, so thanks to them, they've given me an awesome quote. And yeah, so we're hoping today to get the running issue sorted. We're going to get the aero catch bonnet pin sorted because, of course, with the K20 you lose the functionality of the OEM bonnet latch. I need to mount the expansion tank, put the interior back together, and then just go through the brakes and suspension, make sure that's all good. Maybe put some new calipers, discs and pads on, just for safety measures. With that being said, let's not delay any further and let's get on with it. Right, so in the last video, if you watched it, you'll have seen I made this pretty cool, if I may say so, intake that puts the filter down in the bumper there behind the grille, but it had this issue. Sorry for the noise, but as you can see it's idling really high and so as you can see, first of all, pardon the rattles, them solid engine mounts are no joke. But it idles really high. Obviously that was on cold start anyway, but higher than you'd expect, and it wouldn't rev. So what I found, I spoke to the tuner, sorry, the bloke who did the ECUs, and I spoke to the guy who did the loom, and between us worked out I didn't put a MAF in it, and because the ECUs have just been demobilised, it's not had all the tuner from put on it, it still needs a MAF. So I bought an FN2 intake which comes with a MAF built into it. So it comes with this elbow, this OEM one, and an airbox with the MAF in it. I plugged it in, and well, this happened. As you can see, it's on cold start, so it does hold the revs a little bit, but the idle dropped a lot lower and it would rev. So we need a MAF. I didn't just want to order one of the joiners and put it in place because the inside diameter of the MAF housing is quite important, and they've got like some air straighteners and stuff on it. So the plan is to do the DIY intake you see on FN2s, where we're going to cut this section out and use that as the joiner to build some kind of intake. Whether that incorporates this, put it in this straight section maybe, or just build something temporary that even if it sits the filter in the bay down here where it gets hot and stuff, it's not really a big issue, because the idea is once the car's done, you can go for mapping, where you can actually remove the MAF in the mapping software and just run an intake air temp, which is what this is set up for, just there. So we'll take this airbox off, take the MAF out, so there's them air straighteners I was talking about. We'll take the MAF out and we'll get to chopping. So that's how it's been all modified and cleaned out, so we've got loads of little shards. Not got a lot to play with up to the MAF sensor there, but should be doable. So that can go into the pipework as normal, like so. MAF goes in the hole, they're straight in the air, then obviously we need to put some kind of filter on there. Now that is 80mm. That is 80mm. The filter from that intake there a 76mm or 3-inch. So what I did buy, preempted, was this. It's another Direnza filter. It's a lot bigger. It's actually bigger than I planned. I expected it to be about the same, and it's a bit bigger. But that will fit, difficult one-handed, it'll fit on there, like so. And my plan is to just notch that bit there just to fit around the math a little bit. And then, I don't know. I'm a bit stuck at that point. But that's the plan anyway. We'll have a look and go from there. That's what I'm thinking. Filter, math housing, cut the filter a little bit just to sit it in a bit nicer. Onto a joiner. That's actually just a 3-inch joiner, but it's stretched onto that 80mm just fine. So 76 to 80mm. Onto a 3-inch elbow, onto the step up that I used on that intake. So it just needs some means of getting this onto there, and maybe getting the breather on there. Because obviously on this one over here, I welded them two on. I don't know if I've got any more material to do that again, but should be a simple matter of drill a hole, weld one there, then get some sort of pipe from there to there again. Or worst case scenario, I could just put that to a catch can and vent to atmosphere. There's plenty of space here, over there, whatever. But yeah, I think that'll work, and should run better with a math in place. I feel like it's a bit of a waste because it's obviously up in the hot engine bay and stuff. That's actually solid as well, by the way, because there's a little bracket there which is sort of jammed against, or it sits into. So that should do nicely, and if it ever caused a problem, in theory I could just cut this straight section down, because it's about 4-6 inches long, bring the filter down and make some kind of bracket to hold it. But as a temporary one, before it potentially goes for mapping and gets that intake on it, I think it'll do just fine. So I'll go through my bucket of spares, see if I can find something to get that on there, see if I can find a barb of a similar size to that, and that'll solve that issue. I've been through my scrap bin, which is just a drawer here full of random odds and ends. I found these two. Now that is perfect for that, and that's from the hole in a weld, and that is near on the same as that. It's a little bit too small, so it won't fit in my swager, but it will do the job of getting the intake from there to there. Just need to find some kind of pipe that's not going to cause an issue. I don't think that one will bend enough because it's quite, it's quite stiff. So I'll go through my bucket of random hose assortment and see if I can make something work. Right then, so what I've got that little one, which will go just there. That sounds shit, by the way. Right, so what we've got, the little one, which will very simply just go there, just cleaning up, welding, nice and easy. The big one, I've got some hose, which is just some vac hose. It's a little bit stretched, but it's the closest I've got. It fits over there, it will stretch over there as well. And I've cut that at a 45 degree, and that's going to go somewhere in that region, which will just go down there. A lot of hoses, which I don't particularly like, but it will sort it out. So just need to mark that, drill some holes, weld them in, call it done. We're just tidying desk up, getting everything ready to start welding. My missus plugged right out the window with a cup of tea, some biscuits. There we have it. It's the elbow. I've swaged the ends, welded them 2 bits on. That just fits in there. Oh, a little bit stiff, which is good because it means it's not going to come out. And that one Goes in there. It's really easy to do one hand, just FYI. That's how it'll go. That'll go on there. That'll get trimmed down and go on there. That'll do the job. I'm actually quite impressed with that. It's a much simpler solution than that. Yeah, it's back near the exhaust manifold with the heat and stuff, but meh, what can you do? A lot of the FN2 intakes put them in a pretty similar spot. It's actually more like here, but what's 6-inch? Giggity. So to be fair, could run a cold air from down there, some kind of intake, and blow air at it maybe. But yeah, that'll do the job. Just need to put it on properly with 2 hands. Jubilee clip it on, trim this hose down and get it to sit nice. And I can tick the idle rev issue off and have a look at them aero catchers, which I don't think I can put off much longer, to be fair. Time. I don't know why, but the idea of doing aero catchers scares me. It's drilling to bodywork and stuff. Don't mind doing chassis stuff, don't mind cutting and welding, but bodywork just something about it. The wife's here.
Yeah.
Right?
The kids are...
You going on YouTube? Say hello to YouTube, mummy. That's that with. So this is the aero catch kit. Stickers.
I'm back. Can I come in?
You can come in, but you're going on YouTube.
No, I don't want to go.
Smile! I don't know why, but there's something about cutting into bodywork that just makes me uncomfortable. If you get it wrong, it can be seen and all that type of stuff. And obviously these need holes cutting in the bonnet for the actual aero catch unit to sit in. But needs doing, so let's get on with it. Genuine aero catchers. Stickers, because you've got to get stickers with car parts. They come with the aero catch unit, got locking. There's a plate underneath, which is like a sandwich plate to sandwich the actual skin of the bonnet. Keys for the locking bit. The pin itself in a very Chinese looking red. Hardware, you've got bolts and stuff. And templates on the back there, which gives you all your sizes and all that type of stuff. Don't really want to do this, but needs doing. Got to learn one way, haven't we? Let's drill into some bodywork. There's a number of guides for this on the internet, so it's probably not a guide and more of a get it done. Oh, so disappointed. I'm thinking of using where the factory rubber stoppers go, with already a hole, which I believe it's a bit baggy, but in theory that could go there like that, and then that is already marked out on the bonnet there in theory. That's my plan anyway. I don't know where most people do it, but that's what I'm thinking. First things first, let's get these pins mounted. Just getting it all lined up, ready to go. I thought I'll check where the actual aero catcher is going to go. And the problem with putting it there is that's going to land the aero catcher about there. Which is going to land that there, right on the crease. No bueno, bad idea. So it needs to come further in or further back or something. That's why it's good to double check everything, where everything's going to lay, because you don't have to have drilled holes in bonnet to find that you can't fit your actual aero catch units. I've seen somebody else do it there, but he didn't have the aero catch, he just had the old style ones where you got the metal thing on top, it just pokes through. So yeah, let's crack on. Right, so we've got our pin location decided. That still bolts in there using the OEM stuff. That's there, it's in loosely, but there it is. What we can do is just put a little bit of something on there, a little bit of copper grease or axle grease or anything, and then as you lower it onto it, and then leave a little mark on the bonnet there. So let's go and get some grease. A little blob of copper slip. Lower it down so it touches. And that leaves a little dot there. So we'd have to drill up through there now, so that can fit through. Bloody drill bit just snapped. Perfect. The one thing I didn't account for, I'm still just getting going, is the Jazz's bonnet is quite steep. So the pins point up, not forward. So obviously I've drilled through both skins. And it's obviously pointing up, so I believe we'll be all right. So looking at this at the template, it sits about there-ish, I believe. So it might be a little bit onto the side of the aero catch, but it should be savable. I'm going to do this one off camera and then show you how I've done it, rather than make a tit to myself on YouTube. Right, as you can see, it's a little bit dark out. It took a little bit longer than I expected. It's not perfect, but there you go. The pin's in, the rubber's on, the aero catch is in. It's not perfect, but it is solid. It's not moving at all. It goes on, clicks in, solid. It's a little bit snug, but I think that's pretty good. If I extend it up, because of the shape of the bonnet, because the bonnet comes that way, put the pin up, it moves it away from the centre pin. Ideally the aero catch could have been a smidge further back, but in. So yeah, just need to not only we've got to do it again, which I don't want to do, but it is what it is. I've got to get it matched perfect. So what I may do is remove this one, make a template from the corner of the bonnet out of masking tape or something, like literally mask it, and then cut that hole out with the masking tape, and then flip it, put it on that side, and in theory you could get it in exactly the same place. Or I might just measure it and go from there. But I'm going to call it a day on this. Busy tomorrow, so some stuff to do probably next weekend. So I'll catch you next weekend. And we're back. Right, we're gonna get straight on with it. That offside aero catch needs doing. So I'm going to just set you up on a time lapse and get on with it. That's the hole all cut. Looks much better. So you can see there's a little bit of silver around the edge where I've just sprayed a little bit of silver paint into there. Got myself a cotton bud and a brew. cotton bud and just dabbed it around, done the top, the bottom, both sides. That one didn't come out as well. Obviously that was my first try. I've not really done it before and had to adjust it and stuff. So yeah, that's the actual aero catch done. So I can actually bolt the aero catchers up. The issue with the aero catchers on the Jazz, running them this way around, I don't know if there's a better way, is for the aero catch to sit at the angle it needs to sit at, because it doesn't sit like that, it sits like that. You have to take a little bit out of it, because it sits like that. So yeah, not ideal, but should be solid enough. So I'm going to bolt the aero catchers in now. The paint's pretty much dried. I've just gone over with blowtorch to flash dry them. Bolt the aero catchers in, run a magnet round inside to get all the metal shavings and stuff, and then I can get the pin mounted on this side. And there you have it, all done. And the lock too. Bonus. They're even. I've sort of flat at the top rather than rather than having like central out, flattened them at the top so they're like angled in. Very similar, or how I like the look of the OG BMW M2s with the vents, the little vents they put there and there, like the nostrils. I think it'll have some sort of look to it. I like it, looks cool. But that means at least we can get that crossed off, and then have a look at the expansion tank, which is going to sit somewhere, oh, the big blue sheet in my way, but somewhere down there. We need to get an expansion tank, and then in theory the front end can all go on, and yeah, then it's just interior and suspension stuff, I think. Right, so we've got the engine bay and everything uncovered, and obviously we need an expansion tank, which goes off this little hose here on the radiator. So I've got the OEM one, which normally goes onto the fan surround about there. But obviously we don't have the OEM fan in, because it won't fit. So what I'm thinking is using the fan surround tabs on the top of the radiator here and there, again, you can't see. Put a flat piece of like angle across it, off a little bit, and then that'll just bolt to it, and then in theory that can just pop straight back into the original place, roughly like that. Sort of there. Hello?
Husband.
Yes, wife?
Yeah.
Come in. There it is. All done. So that bolts to the radiator, drops down, and then that bolts to there using a little bolt. there it is. Bolts there, expansion tank there, bolted there to that rev nut there. It's all good. Can bolt the radiator port back on. Expansion tank's done, aero catcher done. Everything else is on the rest of the car. So I can put the front end back together, I believe. Right, so the front end's back on, front bumper's all solid. There is an under tray which goes up into the arches, which is not currently on. I don't want to bolt it on to have to take it off in case of any problems, because with any road test there is problems. But I have forgot to charge my phone, and I do all my videos on my phone. So I'm going to put my phone on charge and sort the suspension brakes out. So as you can see, the hub nuts aren't tight, discs are battered, they've got a bit of a lip on them, and pads are all worn and stuff. So I've got some disc and pads to chuck on. Bolt all the suspension up to get a quick nut and bolt check, plug the ABS sensors back in. Oh, I need to put the interior back together. I'm going to do all that off camera because it's not important, it's not interesting. And then in theory we should be able to put the wheels on, take it down the road. So yeah, plug you in, put it on charge, and put it all together. Right, little update, the phone's got plenty of charge in it now. I thought, oh, I'll just bolt some new discs and pads on, everything will be fine. But there's the caliper, there's the piston, it's got a lot of corrosion on it. So I've had to knock it all out. I'm just trying to clean it up now, get some sandpaper, clean it all up, and go from there. Got it done. Admittedly, the calipers are absolutely battered. They are OEM ones and Nissan's ones, so they might be original to the car. But I've managed to knock the pistons out eventually with some brain wheel hammer basically, and get them moving again. So I sand in the pistons back and everything. So it'll work. I'm gonna have to order some new calipers though. But we're back together. Discs and pads are in. They're only some cheap blueprint pads, not ideal, but they don't make a lot of good pads from. It's basically EBC yellow stuff, which are better than shit pad basically, and DS2500s I think it is. Yeah, DS2500s, which are on back order everywhere at the minute. So I just ordered these to set me on, get it going. But I do need some new calipers, so I'll order some new calipers Monday. The back were pretty easy. Basically the pad material just stuck to the disc, so spread the brake clean, work the back and forward, straight round. Hot handbrake mech works nice, and they work fine on the pedal. So it will literally just, well, because they've been sat for a while, so that should free up nicely. But the car is all back together, suspension's bolted together. I just need to plug the ABS sensors in, put the interior in, and then we can put the wheels on it and pull it off the drive. But as you can see, it's basically pitch black out, so I'm going to call it a day. I've got a couple of jobs to do tomorrow, picking up some parts for my other car and some family stuff. Hopefully we'll get some time to run it around the block. If I do, I'll add it into this video. If I don't, I'll catch you next weekend. Right, it's the following weekend. I ordered some bits. Rather than struggling with them calipers that are on the car that I mentioned a couple of seconds ago, I got some brand new ones. And I got these free of charge. So a friend to the channel and a friend in general messaged me on Instagram and said, I've got a pair of calipers, I've no longer got a jazz, do you want them? So yeah, what do you want from them? Send me your address, I'll send them you. So thank you, you know who you are, you don't want to be named, so yep. Brand new pair of calipers, only Chinas or budgets, patterns, whatever you call them, but they'll do the job. And it means we can get them horrible rusty things off there. The water temperature gauge I did off camera. I finished work a little bit early one day, I had an hour spare, so I thought I'm just going to lay the wires and things. So the wire comes off the gate, off the temperature sensor there, runs with this cable. It's just literally a piece of 2-core cable, which I've not got a piece laying about to show you. Poked it through the grommet where the original accelerator cable ran, and then it runs up under the dashboard. It goes into the radio wiring here, and so that's the 2-core cable, and then there's the radio wiring. So all you needed was ignition switch, wire down to the sensor, ground, and then into the illumination. So I did all that. It goes up to the gauge, and there's the gauge. Location's not perfect. It would have been better over here, but it was easier to run the cable, and where I drilled the hole for the cable to run through, it's out of view. So if we choose to remove that in the future, the tiny little hole's not in view. Plus it's on this plastic piece which is replaceable, and I didn't want to have to run the wire across the back of the dials and everything. So there it is. It's all wired in. I did eventually unwire it from the illumination and put it on a positive ignition, constant ignition live, because when you keyed the car on, it was really dim like it is now, so you couldn't actually see it. So now, if you key it on, it illuminates and you can see it, and you get a little dial sweep, which is cool. Yet to test it with the car running, but it is all wired in. The cables just need sort of tidying up under there, but it's all in, it's all crimped in nicely, and a bit of loom tape on it, which can go back on behind the radio. If you're ever doing one of these in a Jazz and you want to use radio wiring, there's your colours. It's the big plug and a little plug. On the big plug, you've got a black, which is your ground, a yellow with a red tracer, which is your ignition live, and if you want to use the illumination, it's red with a black tracer. So we can cross everything off that list other than the brakes, really. Off camera, I'm going to swap them calipers in. I'm going to tie that bit of wiring up, and then hopefully the next time you see this, I'll be putting the car on the ground. Right, it's time to start it up, run up to temperature, then I'll just take all crap out that's accumulated. Start dropping it to the floor if everything's alright. Yeah, it's been sat a while. Hope the battery's not dead. Bollocks. Right, so it's been on charge for a couple of hours. I've had emptied the crap out of it and put the back end on the floor. Gone around on the side with a bit of underseal, just tidy a couple of areas up. Wire wheel. But the charger's saying it's charged, it's gone from charging to maintaining. So in theory, should start. We'll see. We'll start. I'll let it get up to temperature and everything, keep an eye on it all, and we'll go from there. Hopefully it's all good and we can pull it off the drive finally. So it's running. The temperature on the little gauge I've installed showing up to 50 degrees. This temperature from the ECU showing 65, but that went up a lot faster. Obviously the temperature probe is in a different place, and to be fair, now I've put the interior back together, it's not rattling half as much. Most of the rattle you can hear is the keys. It's actually quite quiet. Obviously I have a feeling once you start driving it'll be a bit different, but I'm going to let it heat cycle. If it's not got any leaks, piss off. If it's not got any leaks, I'll put it on the floor and take it down the road. We've got no MOT. Don't tell anyone. But we can just take it down the road and back, can't we? Right, so we've done a heat cycle. The temperature off the ECU is 5 to 8 degrees more than the gauge I've put in. I don't know if that's lagged because of where the temperature sensors are. One's before the red, one's after the red. Or I don't know if it's just the Chinese gauge is not very accurate. But it run up temperature, the fan kicked in at 95, it kicked back out at 87 I think it was. According to the ECU data, on that it's like 90 to 82ish. But yeah, it seems to be working fine. Right, so it's gone dark, so it's just really light. So we've gone dark. Start spitting a little bit, but I think I've kind of committed to just taking it around the block. It's very vibrating, not gonna lie. But it's moving under its own power. I'm going to call that a successful first drive. I'm just going to get torch and just have a quick look over it, but it feels fine. It's the next day, so we took it for a little test drive and it drove. No problems at all. It drove, it revved nicely, it works. A couple little niggles. First of all, forgot to put front number plate on, so that's an easy fix. The clutch is a bit soft. Pop the bonnet, let's have a look. It appears to have a little weep from the clutch line, just there. So hopefully it's just not nipped up or the crush washers aren't perfect. But what I did do is after the gym today I popped and got the crush washers. So I'm going to do that in a bit when the rain lets off. The alignment needs doing, obviously I eyeballed it, and to be fair it's not really a mile off, just needs tweaking. The wipers, I changed the wiper motor on this car because I borrowed this wiper motor for my other Jazz which I had at the time. That wiper motor worked fine on both Jazzes. This one pops fuses, so it's on constantly unless you put it in number 4 that it pops fuses. So I think this wiper motor system is off the earlier cars which were a different wiring loop. So I'm just going to get a new wiper linkage set up for about 30-40 quid on eBay. Chuck one of them in. I need to swap the rear lights. I've got some lovely JDM rear lights in a box up there. The last but not least, so the throttle pedal sits a little bit higher than I'd like it to, so it just makes it a little bit odd to drive. Luckily the pedal I use uses a metal rod, like the OE one, so you can cut and weld and tweak it, just move it to where you need it rather than having to make a new bracket and everything. See if we can get something sorted with that. So yeah, it's finally running, driving, holds temperature and everything. It works. So I'm going to call it an end to this video, and in the next video I'm going to sort all this out off camera. You don't want to watch random bits and bobs. Hopefully on the next video we'll take it for a proper drive.